We're live.
We're
Yay.
live.
Welcome,
Hello.
everyone. We have 0. That's a good start. We can only
That's a
go
good start at 0.
to
Okay. Well, we
infinity
can
from
only go
here.
up from here. We can't go
And
down.
yeah, we will improve infinitely. Here today with
Yes.
Korypto Stylist. It's my pleasure to have you today on the channel. We're kind of chit chat as people come in. I'm sure there will be people, except we are overlapping coaches stream, which is a bummer. But we deliberated about whether or not to do that in the green room, and we decided we're just going to go ahead and start streaming. It's okay. I think
And
you'll
the
be all
only
right.
reason being that it's not that I'm impatient, but it's very, very, very late where I am. So I want to be able to spend some time and really get
Sleeping?
into a great
Oh,
conversation with Prairie. We've just gotten to know each other recently through, their common connection through pTGC. And it's been, a real pleasure, even just on through Telegram, our chats and just some of the information that we've been sharing. And I find that we're quite aligned in our mindset about crypto and about this project, about Pulse Chain. In a lot of ways, I know that you had talked a little bit about your family and that your wife is an educator. So she taught homeschooled your children, and I have great admiration, the greatest respect for
aw,
teachers. From an Asian society, teachers are up here, right? So,
right.
you know, I, mm,
Yep,
so
that
it's
is
nice
very
to, yeah.
that is true. We hosted an Asian student for a few weeks from Japan, and yes, very,
Mm.
very, very respectful. This is a different culture. For sure, of respectful of adults and elders, teachers. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to talk about PTGC today, and
Okay.
maybe some UFO. We'll throw
Hmm.
some UFO in the mix, but I kind of wanted to just glance over at the chart, guys. Ooh, I think,
Okay, let's check out the chart. Shaka Vibes is here. Hi, Shaka.
yay, he's my buddy.
And
Um,
Demian
did,
602.
did we just hit a new? No, we didn't hit an all-time high against PLS, WPLS, but we're close.
Looking at where we are now.
We are within, it looks like about 0.33%. That's right there. So somebody bought a nice bag recently, it looks like, because this happened just this morning. But we are at almost, if you can see the ratio over here on the right, 1.19. We are really
Hmm.
close to 1.2. We just broke over the 1-to-1 ratio. Was that Sunday, Stylist?
I think it was, yeah, it was over the weekend. It was over the weekend. And I was just blown away.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just, when you were, I think, during one of your spaces, I was like, gosh, the ratio is so crazy. And at that point it was it was 0.88, and I just couldn't believe that. And here we are, and it broke 1.2. And I remember at a time it was like 0.49, 0.4. Like it's crazy how quickly this has happened.
Yep. And I wasn't even really paying attention to ratios that much, being a little bit of a crypto new person.
Mhm.
Um, but now I kind of understand it's definitely a milestone in the
Mhm.
history of crypto, in the history of
It
this token.
I know it really is. It's truly unbelievable. So Demian 602 says PTGC has shown excellent relative strength against PLS, ETH, and BTC. My friends and I are very pleased with these defensive tokenomics in every market downturn. It's true, especially in the context of what's happening in the market, specifically within Pulse Chain. The fact that this project and this token has just been so not only resilient, now it's on a like this upward, it's on fire right now. So I don't want to jinx it, but it's really kind of decorrelated, and it's doing its own thing. It's taking its own energy and it's going, and
It
that's
really,
really, really nice to see.
I'm not great with the deck screener. I was trying to
Hmm.
pull up the weekly chart against WPLS, but B Roots talked about yesterday on his stream. He showed, I think it was the weekly against PLS, and it's just, and he made the point, if we're holding PLS and not holding pTGC, we're actually losing money. I'm like, wow, man, that's the proof's in the pudding. It's true.
The proof is in the pudding. And in this moment in time, that's the truth. But I will say that B Roots is a big proponent of of Pulse, as am I.
Mhm.
And I think that in this moment in time, it really is, I think it's really shown that pTGC is stronger, and it's outshining PLS. But I think that, I think PLS will also have its time. But in my opinion, or at least in my own strategy, not financial advice, I'm holding both in a significant way.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Damien. What a gentleman. Appreciate that. Here we go. There's that weekly.
Yeah, let's take a look
Again.
at it. It's really beautiful.
It really is.
It's really beautiful.
I love it.
It's so
So
pretty.
we're 20% over parity with PLS in 4 days since we went to parity. So
Mm.
yeah, exciting times. And before we know it, it'll be 2 pulls per. I always get it mixed up. It'll be like,
Yeah,
2 pulls
it'll be.
per pTGC.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a great time. And listen, like we're at 4 zeros, 41.52 on the price. I'm not sharing my screen. There we go.
Mm.
And
Wow.
that's where I got in, right about here.
Hmm.
And I've been dollar cost averaging all the way up and then all the way down. So if anybody's on the fence, this, not financial advice, but I think this, in my opinion, I would still dollar cost average down here for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to dollar cost average. Yeah, for a while. I'm just going to keep doing it because the prices are still low. Because when I first heard about pTGC was in the beginning of March, and the price was much higher. I think it was 4 zeros and an 8.
Could be.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, 4 zeros and an 8, and I bought then, and then it went down, and a dollar cost average down, and then now I think still, even though there's all this excitement and the price is really, the chart against PLS is really impressive, and the price action in the last week has been just incredible. It's still cheap. It's still cheaper than when I got in. It's half the price of when I got in, so it's not too late to get in, which I think is super in my opinion. I mean, just looking at the price compared to when I got in at the, around the all-time high. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Prairie, I think that our conversation in the green room was really interesting, that we were talking about, the timing and like what were some of the catalysts for this happening beyond, the brilliant tokenomics and
Yeah.
behind pTGC. I think that there's been some really strong marketing. So, I think that the fact that you and TG Zen and Coach are so consistent in your messaging, is so consistent on going live in spaces and on stream and being guests and really going in depth and being so generous with your time and your energy and your knowledge to share that with people. I think that's number one. Two, I think that B Roots has been I don't know him, but I just know that he has, a really strong following. And I know that he has a lot of influence. And I feel like that spaces that he did, I think it was just a week ago, where he talked about what is the key to making pTGC hit a bigger audience. And he mentioned the fact that he believes that it should be meme coin with utility. So you could just,
Right.
instead of talking about all these complexities about, the buy and burn, and about the, the APY, and about, the even more complex mechanics of the tokenomics, he believes to keep it super simple. I don't know if I think it's somewhere in the middle, but I do like the meme coin with utility, even though it's just so much more than that. But I feel like since that stream to now is like, it was like a spark, and then the fire finally hit, and it caught fire. And that's what's been happening since then.
Agreed. I mean, it's technically, pTGC is technically not a meme coin.
Mm.
It actually has utility. Meme coins don't have utility. But if you wanted to call it a memeable coin, it is
Yeah,
definitely memeable.
it's
If you
memeable.
if you look at all the alien art
Hmm.
that Tricky has done, and I think some other people have been creating art, you can just go to the Gray's Telegram and go into the media files, and there's bucket loads of images of aliens and videos too. Well done art. It's certainly memeable in my opinion. And the beauty of it is that it actually has, PGC it has utility.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of
I
the
mean, the utility is undeniable, but the memeability I think is really interesting because it does make it that that makes it very marketable because the alien is
yeah,
quite iconic, especially the way that they're putting it out there. The merch, I don't know if you've checked out the merch on their website, but it's really
long
good. The
ago.
designs are really fantastic.
Okay.
So that helps keep it to stick in people's minds, and makes it there. It brings a certain element of personality to the project as well, which I
Yeah.
think is really important. It's part of what's going to make it catch for people. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of personality, part of the memeability of this thing is, I don't know if you've ever heard Coach when he goes on, he does his alien impersonation. He like modifies his voice. This is the 808 wallet or whatever. It cracks me up. But that adds to the memeability of this thing. It adds to the
Mm,
personality. We're not just PTTC is not just it's not only a smart contract on the blockchain with a ticker on deck screener. There's a whole lot more to it.
mm,
There are aliens. There are personalities, and one of the things that I love about PTGC obviously is the community. When I'm looking at a and we're like totally shilling this project, and I don't want to. I don't necessarily want to do that, but when you're excited about something, it comes out. When I'm looking at a product or a project to get into, I look at the founder, I look at
mm,
the tokenomics, not in this order. I look at the community,
mhm,
and then you want to look at liquidity and all of that. And this thing has it all. We have a benevolent, trustworthy founder. We have a thriving community of raving fans. We have the LP, so we can exit, which is always being
mm,
added to. Like every reward token that goes into your wallet is backed up in LP.
mm.
It happens automatically. And then was there a fourth one? Founder, community, tokenomics. This thing's got it. What are your thoughts on that, Stylus?
Well, I agree, and I agree with all those points, and I don't necessarily need to elaborate on those points, but I think that for myself personally, so I've been in crypto for 3 years now, and I started in Hex, and I got into Hex at 17 cents, rode it all the way up to 55, and then wrote it down, and I've been dollar cost averaging since, for the
Mm,
last 4 years. So I still believe in it. But what I can say, and I sacrificed for Pulse and for Pulse X. And I've been also DCAing into those projects. I'm providing liquidity and I'm also amassing ink. But here's the issue. I love these projects and I will continue to DCA. I believe in them. I believe in Richard Hart, but I am not in a position where I'm going to have a significant piece of that pie.
there you
I
go.
don't even being a squid, I think is not realistic other than an ink for me. Whereas in a project like
Yep.
PTGC, I've surpassed the shark status, and I'm working towards my goal is to be a whale, so, that's just not fathomable with my economic situation. And I have a good job, but you have to have so much money to, because the market cap is so large, the pie is so big to have a significant piece of that pie for me at this stage of my life is not realistic. So from that point of view, I was really attracted to this project because I believe that the market cap right now is just over 13 million. And we were talking about this, Prairie, in the green room, that if you take 13 million and you multiply that by 1,000, that's 13 billion. 13 billion is not an unrealistic market cap. There are many projects out there which have attained that, so to, looking for that 1,000x, I'm not saying that that can happen, but if it did happen, that number is not unfathomable,
Right.
so that's another thing that attracts me, because we're so early.
1000x, not saying that it would happen, but it could.
It could.
Crypto. I've seen some crazy things happen just in my crypto in the last couple of weeks. Stuff happens in crypto that might surprise you. And if you hang around long enough, it's bound to happen, practically speaking. But
I mean, it's a project I'm really excited about, and I do enjoy talking about it, and I will continue to talk about it. In addition to, I really believe in, I think Pulse Chain, for all the FUD that we're getting right now, and there's the SEC case, and the price is down, but it took Hex, which isn't exactly like for like, but it took it 1.5 years to really start to move. So we're just at that mark now. So, and we have a lot more, I think, macroeconomic situation, that are really hurting the price as well. So it's not exactly like for like, but I think
right.
that we have to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight.
And I don't think it's going to happen. Like, we're having our own little bull run in pTGC. But honestly, for the chain to run, it may be that we need Ethereum to run.
Yeah, we do.
Because Pulse Chain is a leverage play on Ethereum. pTGC is a leverage play on Pulse Chain. So we just we need to be patient. We need to be patient. Yeah, I asked you this. I asked you this in the green room. Speaking of the overall state of the market, I'm like, okay, I'm having this stream with Stylus. There's a little bit of, let's call it, non-enthusiasm in the community, the broader community. So, let's ask Stylus, how long are you willing to wait for the bull market?
Okay, let's look at this analytically. Okay, so let's just say that let's just use the 4-year cycle as the unit of measure, right? So the 4-year cycle is measured from when there's a Bitcoin halving. And this year, the Bitcoin happened on April 19th, right? And the last 2 4-year cycles, from the Bitcoin halving to the market all-time high, was about over 500 days. It was like 570 plus days. So it happened, about 1.5 years after the Bitcoin halving. The Bitcoin halving happened in April. So it's May, June, July. It's been 4 months. So I'm not going to start panicking until October of 2025 if there's no momentum. Then I'm going to be like, okay, this doesn't look good. Maybe we're decorrelating. Maybe the ETFs are making things move slower. I don't know. I will start questioning at that point if nothing's really moving. And then, but at that time, there will probably be other people, other experts will have, analysis and explanation, et cetera, barring some big black swan event, which could happen, which could affect it. But if it's just not moving, then I'll start to think, have I just lost all my money? But I'm also in a situation where I don't need to take out crypto to live. I have a job, and I have no plan of quitting my job anytime soon, because I want to be able to amass crypto in the way that I want to, not because I'm going to put myself in a situation where I become desperate. So that's what I'm willing to wait until it looks like, unless something were to happen to make it look like it's all going to go to crap, then I'm willing to wait as long as it takes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay, good.
Zen is here.
Yeah. One of the founders in the chat.
The big boss.
Here. So what was the term you used if crypto doesn't turn around by October 2025?
Yeah, if it doesn't start to move by October 25, okay, if October 2025 is not really moving and nothing's happening, then I'm going to start to worry. I'm going to start to worry, but I'm not going to necessarily pull out, but I will start to worry. And then,
We don't want
I
to
don't
see
think
you
that's
do
going to
whatever
happen
you
either.
described you're going to do.
Well, or but I'm going to call you, Prairie. I'm going to be like, what do I do? Do I sell everything?
Hodl.
But that's a
Yeah,
ways off. And that's why, and I've streamed a couple of times and talked about people are panicking that they're not rich yet. And it's not time. Just
right.
look historically, it's not time yet, which makes it even more remarkable that pTGC has the momentum that it has. And it's kind of decorrelating from everything else. And it's just doing its thing. A little bit of marketing, B roots on one stream, just, really talking about, meme coin with utility, that spark just is flying. So I think that, the potential is just, it could be incredible.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yep. I think it could surprise us. Okay. Now we talked about this, what I'm about to share on the screen in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Oh
just
yeah.
going to
Okay.
very carefully, we're going to show this
Mm.
and tiptoe around this topic. Okay, what you're seeing on the screen, I took some data off the blockchain last week, and I reviewed several other tokens against pTGC and UFO. Because somebody made a comment in the Telegram that since UFO launched, he says, since UFO launched, many of these other tokens have not done as well as UFO. So I'm like, okay, I think we can demonstrate this. So it did.
Mm-hmm.
And UFO launched on the 2nd of May.
Mm-hmm.
And I took this data on the 24th of August, last Saturday. So
Mm-hmm.
market caps. Here's the beginning market cap and the ending market cap. Percent change. Okay, and that's where we're stopped for this illustration.
Mm-hmm.
So of the other tokens that I looked at, all averaged a negative 49%. These two tokens were the only ones in the green. And I did not look at small cap. I didn't, these were all, I think, $1 million plus market cap tokens. And then if you looked at market cap start from January 8th to March 8th, when Pulse
Mm-hmm.
did its big run, January 8th to March 8th, here is the market cap start for PTD, right here, for pTGC. UFO hadn't launched yet. This is taking this idea over here to the next level. I was like, okay, let's see what these tokens did in the run up. Well, in X's, here's the result in X's. pTGC did about 16x. These other tokens that were illustrated over here averaged 4. That's just the average. Okay. And that, I'm sorry, I rearranged my screen so I could face the camera. So I'm a little bit discombobulated, but that, just give me a second. I should not have rearranged my screen. I kind of want to bounce off of that page because it's pretty heavy.
It's heavy, but I will say this, because there are some other projects on Pulse Chain that I've invested in that are, obviously I'm invested in RH, but non-RH projects that I'm really excited about, like Solid X, Axis. There's, there's projects that I'm really excited about, and they're down. Pulse Chain is down, so they're down, and it's all correlated. So it's not that they're bad, but I think
No.
the illustration that I would want to make is that pTGC and UFO are decorrelating now, and they're decorrelating, and they're moving up because it has its tokenomics is such that it's able to still show strength and be in the green even in a down time. And once Pulse Chain does start to run, I think that, if you make the assumption, that we're in the green while everything else is significantly down, the assumption would be that once Pulse Chain starts running, that pTGC will run exponentially higher or multiple times higher than what Pulse Chain is running because it's already ahead of it.
Yeah, I labeled the tab on that one, on that spreadsheet, game over. I mean, and I usually, well, that's what I labeled it. So when Pulse, basically when Pulse ran up, PTGC when Pulse ran up 4x, this is what we say, PTGC went up about a 40x.
Mm-hmm.
When PTGC started that run up, it was at a $1 million market cap.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's at about a $12 million market cap.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen and Pulse is below SAC rate. It's like 3x below the sacrifice price. And this is the thing. Richard Hart forked Ethereum. Now we have the Pulse network. Richard Hart is in crypto for glory. And I don't think that he's going to be satisfied with anything less than a 100x on the Pulse network. So, yeah, I think exciting times are at hand.
Yeah, no, I think that I think right now, because we're so at the bottom or just so close to where the bottom was, and it's just been such a long time. It's such a long journey from sacrifice. It took 2 years to launch, and then from launch we've had to deal with, it did have a really nice start, but then the announcement of the SEC case has really stunted the beginning. So we've had to kind of really need to kind of get through this period and reset. So it's prairie money is not made easily, and it's these situations, the people that really stick it out are either we're really stupid or we're going to get really rich. It's one or the other. So believe what you want. But I mean, I happen to believe the latter, but, we don't know. But I think that, having spent time, with enough time with Richard, now I've met Coach, I've met, these founders, and I'm watching their projects and their tokenomics and the philosophy of what they are, what they're trying to build. I think it's better than anything else in crypto. It really is. And I think Pulse Chain is the best chain, so it's just a matter of giving it time to mature and grow and to get through this kind of difficult period.
Yep. We all suffer from a thing called recency bias. And the most recent experience for us was a bear market. And so we have this idea that, that we're perhaps like not going to be as successful as we're going to be because of what we just experienced over the last few years, the bear market.
Okay.
So the tendency is, like, I brought a relative in at the same time you got into Hex. I was buying, my first purchase was at 12 cents. Got a family member in, he's got some, and now it's just, it's a train wreck. He's still holding it. But I've tried to get him into, he holds, thankfully, some pTGC and some UFO, but, recently he hasn't been interested. I think we've just gone too long. But in 6, 12, 18 months, I think that he's going to wish that he had taken some action at this time. When I'm taking action, you're taking action, because these positions that we've got, wow, they could be worth something. I'm serious. Imagine having a dolphin position in Hex. A dolphin position in Hex is very good, in my opinion. It's a good, solid position. Well, when Hex is 10 cents or above, not where it is right now necessarily, but you can literally get a dolphin position in pTGC right now for about $1,000. UFO, probably, I want to say about $600 for a dolphin position in UFO.
In Hex, a dolphin position would cost P-Hex, it would cost $257,000. To be a shark is 2.6 million. My goal in pTGC was to get a shark's position, and it did not cost me 2.6 million, which is my point that I was making earlier, that I wanted to find a project that I really believed in, where I was early enough where I could get a meaningful position, a sharp position, and not, and be able to afford it. So, because I'm not a millionaire. And so
Me neither.
this was the project. The market cap is 13,000. And like I said earlier, 1,000x, if it were to go up 1,000x, 13 million times 1,000 is 13 billion. That's not an unreasonable market cap. There are many projects out there that have attained that. So it's not some like $1 trillion market cap that just doesn't seem realistic. It's realistic. I'm not saying it'll happen, but it's realistic.
And maybe not this bull run, but maybe the next one. I mean, how long are we here for? I'm here for more than one cycle. So one of the redeeming qualities of pTGC and UFO for me, and I think they are that you hold the same opinion, is the yield aspect. We come here for the X's; those are great, and then we stay for the APY. What I love about this project is that, to me, it's almost like holding real estate, where you don't have to deal with tenants. You don't have to even go to the mailbox to get a check and then down to the bank to deposit it. It all just comes into your wallet day after day. And I look at my holdings as yield bearing assets that I will drip profit from over time. And I think you probably share the same opinion.
Yeah, no. And the way that I look at it is I hoard all the profits, I compound it. So I just keep putting it back in, because I look at, okay, let's say that over the course of, I'm just making this number up, but let's say over the course of a month, it ends up being $100, right? But if pTGC were just to even 100x, then that's $10,000. That's $10,000 a month. So it's worth it for me. In my opinion, I want to hang on to it because yes, it's only worth $100 right now. It can't do a lot with $100, but I am of the belief that it could happen, that it could do an 100x, in which case, because if Pulse Chain does a 10x, pTGC does 100x, that $100 is $10,000. That's $10,000 a month. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So
especially where you are.
So so that's how I look at it, in terms of, for the long term. And I think that's part of the tokenomics that make it really clever, is that, trying to get people to stay, because otherwise, when you feel like the market is topped and it's reached the all-time high, you're going to dump, but if you can make money on that, then you might think twice. So that's I think part of the brilliant part of the proposition of what this project offers.
Agreed. I'd like to talk about, like, I'm assuming that you have locks. This would be more for people that already hold pTGC, but are you open to, I'm open to talking about how I do my locks, not anything granular, but big picture. Are you open to talking about that? Your locks, your locked pTGC, if you have any?
Yeah, I'm actually just staked. I'm not locked.
Okay. Well, I wanted to talk about locks. I wanted to hear how you've done it. And now I know you're not locked.
I'm staked. I'm not locked.
Okay. So you can earn rewards 3 different ways in pTGC. If you guys don't already know: holding it, staking it, and locking it. And when I first got in, I did some significant locks, like 10-year locks. That would be the max. And those have been great. You get 100% of the rewards when people early unlock. But then after that, I started doing the 90-day locks. And your reward for 90-day locks are 55%, and the 45% gets burned. So it's like you're contributing to the health of the ecosystem by having 90-day locks, but you are forfeiting some profit. So I am contemplating doing some sort of locking ladder. And I'm going to ask Zen on the spaces about this, because I've got I could do a locking ladder, going up to 10 years.
Mm.
Or I could do a combination of that going up to 10 years. And then the idea I got is, let's say you have 100 million, and this is valuable for you guys that are listening and you're thinking about locking, because you want to, in my opinion, you want to proceed very deliberately when locking this product, because if you early unlock, you nuke 30%. Okay.
Wow. Mm.
So let's say you have 100 million PTGC and you're like, I'm just going to lock it up 10 years. Maybe you could do this. This is not financial advice. Break it up into 10 million PTGC locks, 10 million PTGC locks. That way, if you need, 7 million PTGC to take home for profit, you can nuke one of those locks and thereby nuking 3% versus 30% if you'd locked up the whole bag. So I'm thinking about, like, when these mature, I'm thinking about doing a combination of that and then some annual locks. But I want the founder's opinion on that. So I'm going to ask him that on Spaces.
That's a really good question, because I've never heard anyone talk about the locking. I mean, a little bit, I heard TGZen talking about it and what it means and how you have to commit to look at certain time period and et cetera. But Revo asked a question, is the calculation, PLS does 10 times, PTGC does 100x, right? So so basically that calculation is based on, in March, when Pulse Chain did a 4x, PTGC did a 40x. So we're just, if we were to make the assumption that the math were to remain the same, that, if Pulse does a 10x, then PTGC would do 100x. It's not guaranteed, but that's just based on the assumption of what's already happened in history, recent history.
Yep. Recent history. We talked about on Spaces the other day, overtaking of market caps. So give me a second. I'm going to, because I was thinking about this morning. I was thinking about tracking this, but I don't need to track more stuff on my spreadsheets. Let's sort. I'm going to share my screen and sort this by market cap. Okay. Like, who are we going to overtake next? Well, we left Teddy Bear in the dust. Again, hopefully we can keep him in the dust right now. But if you're a Teddy holder like I am, you wouldn't mind if Teddy overtakes PTGC again, right?
Yeah, I'm a Teddy holder. I love Teddy. So yeah.
It's a meme coin. I mean, let's face it. I mean, meme coins go ballistic, but PTGC is memeable. So, like we were just talking about.
And everybody loves teddy bears. I'm working in a brand where we do a lot of graphic t-shirts, and we do tons of different kinds of teddy bears, and we sell millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of teddy bear graphics because everybody loves teddy bear. So when that came out, I was like, I'm in.
Wow. Okay. I'm writing down some notes. Okay, just a second. So we passed Teddy Bear again. I think we passed Teddy Bear when both of them were about 30 million market cap, something like that. Then the next target would be, I mean, if you look at just this chart, it would be, because all of this changes minute to minute, would be Atropa, and we definitely would like to surpass Atropa, and then Wrap Bitcoin is next on that list. And we are within 15-20% of passing both of these in market cap.
Yeah.
And these three here are on Ethereum, and then DAI. Oof. If we could overtake DAI, that'd be incredible.
DAI's at what?
38 million.
38 million. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we have some work to do. We have some work to do.
But we've come so far in just a week. This is all this has happened in a week. In just a week, just the last time I checked, it was like at 0.8. The PTGC to pulse ratio, you know, it's so crazy how much has moved, and now it's flipped it. It's like 1.2
Yeah.
in a very short amount of time.
I don't know if you have seen this. I'm going to share my screen again. But speaking of, this data is actually on this sheet. Okay. This is a reward estimator. If you guys are in the Telegram, I could actually drop it in the chat here, but if you're in the Telegram, just type / spreadsheet and it'll bring you to this spreadsheet where you can estimate your PTGC rewards and your UFO rewards. So for example, and this is not real data. This is estimated, but it's estimated off of the blockchain. It's estimated off of real data. I update it every morning. Crypto Kong is working on something that will be automated, and it'll probably be a lot more accurate. But I have a 1 million PTGC lock, stake. It's staked and locked, but I'm only looking at the rewards from holding it and staking it. Okay. And that's where I get this data. Okay. So I know this looks like a lot of gibberish up here, but I'll try to go through it quickly. So what you can do is enter the orange fields up here. You don't need to change anything down here. But you can put in your like if you're just holding some PTGC, put that number here. And if you have staked, put that number here. And what this does, it will show you the value that that you would have earned yesterday, because this value here is derived from the data I got this morning, if that makes sense. And I've been updating it every day for about a month and adding columns. You can see all the blank spots. But so if you guys want to estimate what you're earning, this is a good tool. But also in here, you've got, I track the total LP, Ethereum volume. I think that needs to have an extra 0. I need to review that. Sorry, that is not correct. Pulse volume, and then the ETH bridged over to Pulse Chain. And then this is getting in my way. And here's the ratio that I've been tracking. Wow. And the days that we pulled back are in gray. And then you've got the PTGC volume here. So this was Monday when we had that big day. There's a lot of activity, $102,000 in volume. And so on. And of course, it breaks it down for you, your holding yield, like this 1 million PTGC, which is a very little amount. I get it. But it yielded 97 PTGC, just for holding. And then in addition to that, if it was staked, and it earned 133. So the APY that day was 4.85%. So I wanted to share that with you guys and let you know that is available in the chat, because I know a lot of people ask for it. / spreadsheet. Kong's working on something. He has this, and he's just going to build it into a site, I think. I'm not holding him to it, but I kind of am.
I think that will be really useful, because it's really fun to look at. Hex has a lot of sites like this too, so you can really calculate your yield in Hex versus or in dollar terms, and you can like move where you think Hex value would be, and like and they have the different metrics for how the payout of t-shirt, like Hex per t-shirt, like
you're familiar with.
Incredible how sophisticated these sites are. And so I think that you guys should build one, because it's really fun to go and play on it. You can do some moon math and just be like, oh my God.
You remember Hex Daily Stats? That I used to look at that every single day. That was just fascinating to me. So here's UFO. Now, what I did with these two tabs, like PTGC is where the PTGC tab, because that's the mothership. I recommend everybody getting into that one first. This is the one that has all this other information, ETH volume, pulse volume, all that. UFO is broke down a little more simply, but there's the volume. Here's the ratio, pulled back a little bit today. Am I concerned? No. The liquidity earned, and this is another 1 million UFO. And here's your liquid. If you held 1 billion liquid, the equivalent yesterday earned would be 27 cents, 1 billion in shares. You don't want to put in your 1 billion. It's based on shares. 29 cents of the total. If you had both, 56 cents. And then let's see, your yield down here and your reflections right there, LP yield, and then daily new reflections. And that doesn't, I don't know how it almost seems inconsistent. I'm gonna have to have a look at that. There are bugs in my sheets. I'm just gonna say it out loud. There's got to be, because I am not.
This is just demonstrative. You're not trying to sell it to anyone. So you'll fix the bugs. But I think the point is that there are going to be tables out there where you can actually calculate how much yield and track it. And then you can start to make plans based on that by projecting that the price would come, let's say if it did a 10x or if it stayed flat or did 100x or 1000x, and you could start to really plan your future, which is a really, I think, interesting exercise.
We all need to plan.
We should
have if we don't plan, boy, and suddenly you have significant wealth. Like a couple weeks ago, I faced that. Not like a lot, but I was messaging some of my buddies. I'm like, what do I do? I hadn't even thought about it. Well, it did come out of left field, but I was like, literally did not know what to do. I had a hunch I needed to do something. They're like, follow the law of meme coins. Finally, Shocker remembers this conversation. He's the one that used that term. I'm like, oh, okay. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, of course. But
on that note, Prairie, I think that's a really good, it's a really good point to make, because we're all kind of, okay, pTGC is flying, but for people who maybe don't hold a lot of it, and then, or people who are, not in it, people who are just, especially in the pulse chain community, there's a lot of infighting, there's a lot of toxicity, because we have nothing really happening. Price is down and nothing's really happening. Everything's moving sideways. When people get bored, they just start picking fights with each other, right? So my advice is, and this is advice, is to knock it off, because it doesn't help it certainly doesn't help yourself, right? Just stop.
There's the mom and you talking.
Ridiculous.
Not that you're a mom. You could be.
No, but it's educate yourself, because you're going to find yourself all of a sudden, you're going to be like, I have all this money, and what do I do? And what's the best strategy that I can take so that I can preserve as much of this money as possible? Because that money can just be like water. It could just go through your hands, not only from price action going down, but there's taxes, there's, there's like life. And if you're not planning and looking forward ahead, for the rest of your life, or how many years you think you're going to live, and this is, and crypto is it. You've got to really think about it and plan carefully, because if you don't plan carefully and you just sit around and just wait for the number to go up and they just hope you could just sell it all one day and just that's going to be okay, that could be the dumbest thing you do, because then all of a sudden you have to give half of that to the government. So planning is imperative. It's the difference between those who will make it and make it this crypto run and have generational wealth, or have enough money to live comfortably for the rest of their lives, and the people who did just as well in terms of number of X's and the amount invested, but they lose it. So it's so important. And there's a lot, and people don't talk about it enough in our community, which is why I want to start talking about it. And they're not planning. And that's why you even see like Hex OGs who made so much money. Some of them are broke now because they didn't plan well, and they had so much money. So it's definitely something that you need to educate yourself and do it fast. And whenever you find yourself trying to be negative or saying something crappy on Twitter, just shut up and just like learn something. Watch a video on crypto tax, or learn about estate planning, or learn about how you can defer your, the
Your
taxes from your crypto gains by investing in real estate. You can defer your taxes and then you can take it a loan. There's so many strategies, but this is why the rich get richer, because they can afford to hire smart people around them to tell them what to do to preserve their wealth. But if you don't plan that, you will get screwed. So that's my 2 cents.
Oh boy, that's so good. That is so important. We need to, and matter of fact, we're going to take some action on this and talk about planning. My neighbor right behind us, he put $1,000 in SHIB, ran it up to 100,000, took it all out. He put it into his house. He got new LED lights that shine into our bedroom. And I mean, he did some home improvements. He's since sold and moved. But I'm like, dude, you're out. I hope you like your LED lights. He completely exited. I want to end on this question for you. Okay. All right. Because I think a lot of people in here have been on stream for a while. And Shaka likes that planning. I know Shaka, he's a mature adult man. So yeah, that would ring true.
Right,
Okay. Speaking of men, I'm a man. You're a woman. I don't think I've ever heard anyone ask this question. And I have permission from you to ask this question. Most, I bet 9 out of 9 people in this room right now are men. Okay. Most of the people that are going to watch this video, most everybody in crypto is male, and we're the breadwinner. Okay. And I know from experience talking with other men that crypto can be a point of contention with our spouse or significant other. So from your point of view, just give us guys some advice, especially if we have, if we don't have a relationship. How should we talk to a potential relationship about crypto, especially if we get a little bit of resistance? One of the things I've learned in the last week is with a woman, it's like they'll be like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay until it's not okay. And we have to be really careful with our spouse. So talk to us.
Well,
give us some advice.
First of all, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, because this is kind of gambling. So you gotta make sure that you have enough to, to a point or a conversation earlier where we talked about how long are you willing to wait? You got to be willing to wait a long time. You got to be willing to lose it. If you lose it all, what does your situation look like? You're going to be starving. Your family's going to be starving. Then that's not a great situation. And I can't imagine that there would be many wives who would be happy with that. So be smart in your planning and be transparent about it and give that reassurance to your wife. So at least she knows that if this were to all go to zero, we would still be okay. This is my plan B. Okay. That's the ideal situation, right? I would say the other thing is, it's like so easy. We sit here, we talk about, oh my gosh, the market cap's so low. This could 1,000x, it could 2,000x, and that would make this $100 worth, whatever, right? And you can really get super excited and talk about, Bitcoin did over 1,000,000x, and you can really promise the stars and the moon. But my advice, and I really feel strongly about this, especially for women, under promise and over deliver. So downplay, just be like, I think it's a smart investment. I think we can do well. This is how much I put in. This is the right, I feel comfortable with this amount. Let's just see how it goes. I do feel really positive. I've done a lot of studying. I've studied the founders. I've done my due diligence. I've vetted everything. So this was an intelligent, informed decision, but it's risky. And yeah, it could be really great, but it could be just okay. So let's just wait and see. But don't be like, oh my God, we're going to be so rich and whatever, because then they're just going to wait for that, or you're just going to sound stupid and they're not going to believe you. So that's my
interesting.
Under promise, over deliver, be transparent. Don't be irresponsible, and let your spouse and reassure your spouse that you're not being irresponsible. Don't promise her that you're going to be rich, because we don't know. But
Right.
I mean, we all think we will, but they don't know what we know. They don't have this reality, this base. They don't sit around on streams. I watch so much content that I have enough confidence, and I've studied historically what's happened in the past cycles, and to where I'm like, okay, in my mind, in an intellectual, having done the study, I happen to believe that history is going to rhyme again and that we will have another bull run. I do. How big that will be remains to be seen. But,
Right. No, that's
but
very
if your
fair.
spouse isn't in it, they don't know that. So if you're like promising them everything, then you're just going to sound stupid, and they're not going to believe you. And it's just, they're not going to want to talk about it. So just kind of make them come to you to talk about it. Just kind of don't really talk about it. Just, but,
Okay.
if you
It's
overshare, they'll be, oh my God, I don't want to hear about this. That's stupid. And what's the value now? And what was the value when you got in 3 years ago? Yeah. Don't set yourself up for that. Because right
yeah.
now it's just not a time to really talk about it. Even with my friends, I don't talk about crypto at all to my friends, because, I just would look so stupid. I tell them how much money I put in and how much the value has gone down.
Yeah.
So
They'll see.
just know the context, know your audience.
There you go. And it is possible to hold the tongue, even as excited as we may get. It is. I've done it on purpose. It is difficult, but once you get used to it, to just kind of zip it, it's possible to do it. I'm just saying that to all the men in the room. So to keep the potential contention down until we have green candles, and then you need to also be careful, because if your spouse is a spender, or she's like, we need to sell it all and take all the profit, you need to have that. You need to be ready for that. So
I personally wouldn't show my wallet or the value to anyone, because then you don't want them telling you what to do. Just be like, oh, it's going okay.
But when it comes to a spouse, however, it might be different, and every marriage is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. I think we're going to end it on that. You got any final comments, Stylus?
I think that this is a really, really exciting time for the Grays currency UFO. So really huge congratulations to TGZ and to all the people who are in it. I'm cautiously optimistic for the future. And I really, really like this community so much. Really intelligent people, not a lot of drama. It's been a real pleasure to find this kind of subset of the Pulse community. And I still love the Pulse Chain community. I believe in Richard Hart. He's a friend, and, all that. There's not to take anything away from that, but to find this little subset of, friends in a group, coach. And, I've learned a lot about crypto. I've learned a lot about just a different philosophy. And it's been a real pleasure. And I root for all of us for this to go, keep going.
True. Well, the community, we are a reflection. Everything rises and falls on leadership. We're a reflection of the founder. Period. That's my opinion. So,
agree.
Yeah, it was a good stream. It was fun.
Oh, all right. It's fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for doing all the work on the data, the spreadsheets. I know that I can't wait for those to come out. I'm going to start playing with them.
Oh, you mean like Kong's work?
Yeah. When I want to start playing with it, like calculating yield and future and planning my whole life.
I'm going to send him a link to this video and we plugged you a lot. We didn't really plug him. We pressured him. It's all good.
Okay.
All right, guys.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.